It's 8 o'clock, and I'm Rockin' Cade with a special birthday edition of Elvis and Friends.
98.1.
Oh, there's 98.1. There's good rockin' tonight, a Monday night with Elvis, celebrating the anniversary of the birth of the man, 66 years old today. Number one for Elvis in 1961, Surrender.
When we kiss.
Great song. From Oldies 98.1 and Surrender. Number one for Elvis in 1961. Well, this Saturday, January 13th, in 1969, would find Elvis at American Sound Studios in Memphis. That's right, he would come back to some serious recording sessions, and he would only use that studio, American Sound, 2 times in his career, January and February of 1969. It was the first time in 14 years that Elvis would record in his hometown. And of course, at that time, it was a major turning point in Elvis's career. He was reinventing himself and just doing things a little bit differently. I'm going to spotlight just a couple of the songs that he would do at American Sound Studios in Memphis. If you're ready, Rubberneckin' from 1969. Oldies 98.1. It's called Rubberneckin', and he recorded it at American Sound Studios in Memphis. Of course, that was also used in this film that he made with Mary Tyler Moore, Change of Habit. And what a great studio that was. You know, a lot of the greats recorded there. The Box Tops, Dusty Springfield, Neil Diamond was there, B.J. Thomas, a lot of the great artists. Of course, Elvis did his thing in January and February of 1969. Here's another one to come out of that studio. Don't Cry Daddy. Oldies 98.1. Remembering Elvis. What a great record that is. I always love that thing. Don't Cry Daddy. Of course, I got one more song for you in the spotlight of songs that Elvis would do in January of 1969 at American Sound Studios in Memphis. And this song would be the very last song in the session. And Elvis said to the guys, let's do that Mark James song. You know, the one called Suspicious Minds? Oldies 98.1, the man who has sold over 1 billion records. Truly, the artist of the century. Let's send this one out to Michelle and Mike in Reading, longtime listeners of the Elvis and Friends Show. Elvis taking center stage.
God bless.
One of those high-power songs that Elvis used to love to perform. Man, I'll tell you, he does a good job with that, too. Elvis, the Sweet Inspirations, and the Imperials Quartet live on stage at the International Hotel in Las Vegas. Sharing the Elvis music and memories. It's a special edition of the Elvis and Friends Show on a Monday night from Oldies 98.1. Released version of 12th of Never from Oldies 98.1. Here's a Lieber and Stoller song that Elvis would record in 1973. What you say, Elvis?
I said 3.
Elvis and the guys cooking on that. Do it now. Oh, man, love that stuff. Love that stuff. 3 Corn Patches from Oldies 98.1. Taking you back to 1960, a cut off of the Elvis Is Back album.
You get me
Feels like a baby. Oh, yeah. From Elvis Is Back, a great LP. At Oldies 98.1, a special edition of Elvis and Friends. Monday night, celebrating the anniversary of the birth of Elvis. January 8th, 1935, he would have been 66. You know, one of Elvis's personal favorites of the songs he recorded was the song Love Letters, of course, originally done by Cade Lester. And Elvis liked it so much, he recorded it twice. In May 1966, at Studio B, he did the first version, was released as a single. Then 4 years later, he went back to Studio B, June of 1970, to do a completely different version of the song Love Letters for his Love Letters album, which was released in 1971. So I thought I'd give them both to you. First one from May of 1966, and then the second version from 1970. We'll do them back to back. Oldies 98.1, that's the way it sounded in 1966. 4 years later, he'd go back to Studio B. He'd do another version of it, in the same key, though. Different version of Love Letters. Oldies 98.1. I like both versions. What do you think? 1966 and 1970. Love letters straight from the heart. Recorded at RCA Studio B in Nashville. Well, I understand someone else shares a birthday with Elvis today. Jennifer, celebrating her 12th birthday. Happy birthday to you, Jen. Got a song coming up for you from Mom and Dad and Grandma and Grandpa, Christina and Tony. It's a cut from Elvis's second album in 1956. It's called First in Line. Oldies 98.1, First in Line, a cut from his second LP, the one simply entitled Elvis, from 1956. Special edition of Elvis and Friends till 9 o'clock. And then we turn it over to Harvey Holiday with the Motown Show, so stick around.
Jeez, Frankie, you said...
One of Elvis's big concert numbers, without a doubt. That used to drive the crowds wild. Polk Salinati from the man at Oldies 98.1. Well, tomorrow, January 9th, 1971, is when the USJCs presented an award to Elvis for being one of the 10 outstanding young men of America. And that, without a doubt, was a very, very special award to Elvis, and one that he was very proud of. And how about if we listen to a little excerpt of his acceptance speech? USJC's presenting him with that award, January 9th, 1971.
Ever dreamed that I would dream.
Oldies 98.1, Rockin' with Elvis. Does a great job on that, doesn't he? Rockin' and rolling in the promised land. Want to send a song out to Kelsey, listening in Sicklerville, New Jersey. She's a regular listener of the Elvis and Friends Show. And as a matter of fact, she was at my Tribute to Elvis concert this past Saturday night. Had a great time. And Kelsey's also going to be going to Graceland for her birthday. What a great birthday present, huh? Crank it up.
One through park.
Dancing to the Jailhouse Rock from Oldies 98.1, a special Monday night edition of Elvis and Friends. You want some of that unreleased Elvis stuff?
I'll be there.
Don't have a thing to worry about, darling, because I'll be there. Giving you the kind of Elvis that nobody has. You know you get it right here on Elvis and Friends at Oldies 98.1. Hey, Elvis, what do you feel like singing?
Little darling.
On the road with the man, Little Darling, from Oldies 98.1.
Thank you very much.
Special, you got it, baby. Special Monday night edition of Elvis and Friends. The anniversary of Elvis's birth. January 8th, 1935, of course, he would be 66. Kind of hard to think of Elvis as being 66, you know, but, you know, he'd still be out there doing his thing, still doing those shows because he loved them so much. And I'll tell you, this has been a lot of fun doing this. We're going to be wrapping it up in a few minutes. Harvey Holiday coming in at 9 o'clock with the Motown Show. I'll tell you, we had so many requests and stuff, we could easily go another 3 hours. Harvey says, go ahead, stay on, I'll go home. Checking out that Philly forecast for tonight. We've got a mixture of rain and snow ending by midnight, an inch or less, low of 28. And then Tuesday, partly sunny and windy, a high of 37. Right now in Philly and at Oldies 98.1, it is 35. Oldies 98.1. Number one for Elvis in 1977 and way down. I see we are just about out of time for the special edition of Elvis and Friends. I've had a great time. 2 hours went by entirely too quick. I think we should send Harvey Holiday home.
I'm on my way.
He's on his way. He's a very easygoing guy. Now, he's coming up next with the Motown Show, so stick around for that. And, of course, I will see you on Sunday morning at 7 a.m., 7 until 9, for Elvis and Friends. Let's head on home,
Hello,
Elvis.
how are you, ladies and gentlemen?